Your father was a great man to me.
I don't know him. Ain't got nothing to do with me.
Well, I think you could be great too.
So what made you want to fight?
My pop was a fighter. Died before I was born. Bounced around foster care, in and out of juvie. I've been fighting my whole life. It's not a choice for me.
You see this guy here staring back at you? That's your toughest opponent.
Who's next?
I believe that's true in the ring, and I think that's true in life.
Boom, boom.
So you're gonna leave me too? You know how many times I had to carry the heavyweight champion of the world up these stairs because he couldn't walk. Ribs broken, nose broken, eyes swollen shut.
What are you afraid of?
I'm afraid of taking on the name and losing. Call me a fraud.
You're still caught in the shadow.
Every move that I make, every punch that I throw, everything's gonna be compared to him.
You are Apollo Creed's son, so use the name. It's yours.
This kid's been nowhere. He's never faced nobody. You don't know nothing about me. You are false Creed.
When you do this, you're going into a storm.
What's wrong with you? Hey, somebody help! Rocky's sick.
I found life in the darkest of times.
If I break, I ain't gonna fix it.
I found life.
Everything I got is moved on, and I'm here.
You're sitting there crying about nobody's around for you. I'm here for you every day. I'm standing right in front of you. Just like any other fight. So if I fight, you fight.
I found life on this planet. Damn it, I've been damaged, but I can manage. I won't take this for granted.
Bring back everything that's ever hurt you. All the pain you had inside. They don't know what we've been through. You belong here.
I found life.
You should be able to grab one of these birds.
Are you serious?
I am serious. Chickens are slowing down.
What's up, guys? That was a really awesome trailer. You know what we're here for Wheel of Movies. We're talking Creed tonight. It had my favorite quote from the movie: "The toughest opponent you're gonna have to face is you." I believe that's true in the ring, and that's true in life. Yeah. So
my favorite quote.
Yeah.
What clone?
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah. Rocky Balboa just has like a way of delivering stuff that just like it just sounds really just like sweet and kind of down to earth, but also like inspires you to want to be better. It's all that stuff. So yeah, but welcome to Wheel of Movies. This is episode 15. This is Creed tonight, and yeah, I'm excited to get into this and talk about one of the best franchises, maybe of all time. We'll see. We'll talk about it, but. Yeah, we'll go and introduce our panel. We have, as always, Austin Pez Howell. How's it going?
Yeah, I've got my Delphi Boxing Academy holding of Apollo Creed shirt on tonight in honor of obviously the Creed name. And yeah, it's been a little while since I sat down and rewatched this first one because I watch Creed 2 a lot. I'm a big Creed 2 fan. But it's been a while since I watched this one. Yeah, it was a good rewatch, and yeah, we'll talk about it. I'm also a massive just Rocky, franchise fan in general. Definitely one of my sort of maybe top 5 favorite franchises for sure. I know those movies front and back all the way through. Oh yeah.
Well, we'll definitely focus on Creed. We can touch a little bit on the Rocky franchise as a whole.
I have some things to say on how this movie makes Rocky 5 better. We'll get into.
Oh,
that.
Nice. Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah, I've actually heard that before that it kind of enhances that. But we also have Matt Mageau, Soda. How's it going?
Going pretty good. Yeah, I'm with Austin here. This is my personal favorite franchise because I've been with it the longest. I also hadn't watched this movie in a long time, and yeah, it was refreshing to see because every time I think of the Creed franchise, I guess it's a lot of things from 2 that I think of. So it was nice to go back and see some things, and to remember that Stallone was robbed for the best supporting actor for this movie.
We can
Oh,
all
yeah.
agree on that.
Oh, yeah.
Boring ass Mark Rylance, no
And no offense
way.
to Rylance,
Yeah.
great
No,
actor.
I do take offense to Mark Rylance. That performance is boring, and Sylvester Stallone gave the better performance
Oh,
that
no,
year.
I meant Mark
And-
Rylance himself. I didn't-
And the people who voted on the Academy just gave it to the nice safe award for Mark Rylance instead of giving it to Sylvester Stallone, who should have earned it for this one. So I do stand by that 100%. I'll say it. I'll say it.
No,
If nobody else will.
no problem with the guy. I do have a problem though with him winning. But yeah, no, Stallone.
Yeah.
Rewatching that spoilers, Rocky has cancer. Watching that cancer stuff just reminds you Stallone is a good actor when he's given good material.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's awesome. Yeah, and just so everyone knows, we will be getting into spoilers here. So just a warning for a movie that's what like
Almost a decade old.
almost 10 years
years?
old at this
Yeah.
point. Yeah, almost.
yeah, right.
I think once we're on to Creed 3 now, I think it's safe to say, we're gonna spoil Creed.
Yeah,
You
right.
know, when last year Creed 3 came out, we're gonna talk about this first one.
I actually have that movie poster. I just have to get the frame to put it up.
There you go.
Yeah, so I assume, did both of you guys see it in theaters when it came out? Did you go and
Oh
see
yeah.
it?
Yeah. I saw it in
Yeah.
theaters. I saw it with my ex. We saw it opening weekend. This was kind of Christmas season, which made sense because Rocky Balboa came out during a little between Thanksgiving and Christmas. When that came out, I remember seeing that around Christmas time. It makes sense. It's kind of again, these movies are kind of have like a cold vibe to them. They're always kind of with their hands together. There's a little bit of snow here and there. It kind of gets that vibe. And I remember just being like, not like skeptical, but I was just like a little hesitant going like, I know Rocky's back, but I know they're focusing on like this new, just anytime they do like the son of whatever character, I'm a little hesitant sometimes, as far as like, is it just going to be a retread of the OG? How are they going to tie it in with the other ones? I think they tie it pretty well. I mean, we'll talk about it. I think they do a good job of respecting the older characters that are still around, but like really, what Cobra Kai kind of is. We talk about Cobra Kai a lot, but that's the gold standard right now as far as respecting the legacy characters, but while building the new characters and really building out the universe, and making it bigger and more key. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think for me, I had a really interesting watch with this because Creed is the first Rocky movie I ever saw. I saw Creed before I saw any Rocky movie, and so it was a really interesting way to watch it. And I loved it so much that I was like kind of gung ho about going back to watch all the Rocky movies. But then at the same time, 2015 was an interesting year because it was 2015 going into 2016. I started dating this girl that I eventually married, and we were in a big process like trying to move to Washington. We were moving up by her parents, getting settled in, all that stuff, and then it just kind of fell by the wayside. It took me about 2 more years after that before I sat down and like I remember that I watched the first Rocky movie, and then like after I saw that, I was like, what have I been doing with my life? These are incredible. And then every single day, like one after the next, I just watched a Rocky movie. Like every day is just like that good. I was like, oh man, like I have been missing out. So it's kind of interesting to kind of see it from that perspective. See Creed first, and then go back and watch Rocky.
Yeah, I also saw Creed in theaters, and I remember it was actually a nice snowy night and some of that. And I also was hesitant going into the movie because it's like, well, what are they going to do here? Like Rocky's not the main character. Creed kid we don't know about. Then I saw the trailer. I'm like, okay, I'm interested. And then I saw the movie, and I'm liking it. And it wasn't until the very end when he's fighting during the fight, and Rocky goes to him and says, "Why are you doing this?" And Adonis says, "Because I want to prove I'm not a mistake." That's what hooked itself into me, and it became favorites because that is a really great motivation that I can understand. And and then rewatched it. I think I saw it 3 times in theaters, and then rewatched it when it came out. And
oh wow,
it's my top 100. My second favorite Rocky movie, behind the first one. And I love 2. Don't get me wrong, Creed 2 I fucking love because of the whole travel stuff. Like dear God, what they did with that movie. But Creed 1 is very special.
Yeah. When I saw it, Creed went in theater. I saw it with my whole entire family, and I remember just like thinking that I've heard that the Rocky movies are really really awesome. Like I do plan to watch them, but when my dad found out, he's a big Rocky fan too. So So he's like, you haven't seen any Rocky movies? You got to get on that. We got to go see this. We're getting the whole family together. We're going to the theaters. He knew I worked at a movie theater at the time, so I got free movies. He's like, you got to get us in there. We're all gonna go see it. So yeah, we all went to go see it. It's only one of the franchises I sat down and watched with my whole family. So that was a pretty cool.
Dude, those Rocky movies, man. Cable in the '90s, TNT and TBS. Those movies, along with Shawshank and Forrest Gump and Jaws, kept the lights on at TNT and TBS. So I saw those original Rocky movies like dozens of times when I was a kid, so that's how I knew. And they would do Rocky marathons on TV, so I'd watch like 1, 2, 3, like all back to back, like the whole afternoon. Like I'd watch those movies all day.
We didn't have a lot of those channels, but also I was lucky because not only did I have my copies of the VHS, which I still have, but my grandparents also had them as well, so I had easy access to these movies. But for some reason, 5 was always the one that eluded. It wasn't until 20th anniversary when they re-released them that I finally got to watch 5 for I don't know how long.
Oh yeah,
I'm personally a 5 apologist. It's still it's still the worst one.
I've come to actually really appreciate it. Like I used to think it was kind of, but again, there are certain things that, in retrospect, there's certain things it does right. There's some wonky stuff. It just the first act of that movie is wonky. Once you get past the first act of like how they get everybody back to Philly, it's a little choppy and a little weird. But I think once they get back to it and settle in, it becomes a better movie.
Yeah,
I think.
Agreed. That is the best stuff. There's a couple funny lines in the first part. But it's definitely when they go back to Philly is when it feels like a rock.
Yeah. Well, I remember that after I saw Creed in theaters, I went home and my parents had a big TV room upstairs, and I just went and bought the first Rocky poster, and I just hung it in there. And they're like you're just gonna hang stuff in here, like that's kind of our room. But I'm like no, like this is going in here. Sorry, you don't have a choice. I kind of forced it on them. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Flag poster. There you go.
Oh yeah, nice. That's awesome. Yeah. And wait a minute, is that a Logan poster behind you too? That's awesome.
Yeah, that's the first poster I ever hung. Yeah.
Oh, nice. It's my favorite movie of all time, and I still don't have a poster. I have a shirt, but I don't have a poster. I
might actually have one for you.
Oh, nice. That'd be awesome. Yeah.
I might. It's not that one. It's the main one.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'll take anything. Yeah. My favorite movie. Sure. Yeah. But I'll just get into some kind of just like general facts about the movie. So we kind of talked about how it was a bit of a holiday release. So it came out on November 25th, 2015. And it was directed by Ryan Coogler. And Ryan Coogler, he also directed stuff like Fruitvale Station. He directed the first 2 Black Panther movies. He hasn't done a ton of stuff yet, but I think he's well on his way. I know he has an upcoming, they say it's a 2025 event film with Michael B. Jordan, and they're saying that it might be a vampire period piece type movie.
Maybe a vampire is going after the KKK.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, let's fucking go.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Sure, for real.
If it's set in like the year 1900, I'm down.
It is. It's a period piece. I can't remember.
That's what I mean. Yeah, if it's set during the time of like they made like that movie, like the
Birth of a Nation.
Yeah, Birth of a Nation. Like set around that time, I'm all in.
It is either that or World War II era. It's one of the two. I can't remember.
Right. Yeah.
But it's definitely a period piece. But I'm all on board. Fruitvale Station. I finally saw for the first time. I think 2 years ago. Man, that is a great fucking movie.
I just saw it for the first time about 4 or 5 months ago. Me and Jacob covered it on a podcast about movies. Yeah, I had never seen it. It's a really dark and kind of depressing movie, but a very well done movie. Yeah, for sure.
Don't know if I'll rewatch it, but I agree.
Not fun to rewatch, but a good movie.
Broke my heart.
Yeah. But I remember watching an interview with Michael B. Jordan. It's like one of those things where they just go to an actor's house and while they're doing whatever they're doing for the day, like showing their daily routine and then just like ask him an interview question and they asked him if he could work with only one director for the rest of his career, who would he pick? And of course he said Ryan Coogler. So
makes sense.
I mean, they worked very well together.
Yeah.
And Creed was actually written by, so I looked it up, there's a guy named Aaron Covington, and as far as I know, he was a first-time writer when this movie came out. So So I mean, phenomenal job.
Kugler kind of co-wrote it as well. Kugler,
Yeah,
was
yeah.
a
So
little big
so
on it.
like Kugler, I'm sure they even had some input from Stallone.
Well, I've got bits.
People are convincing Stallone to even do
Well,
it.
and I've got a
Yeah.
bits about Stallone, what he inputted to the story essentially later.
Oh, yeah?
in my
Yeah.
bits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
I think I've heard that. I think I know the trivia
Yeah.
you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah, and the music was composed by Ludwig Göransson, who he did the music for The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett. He did some of Black Panther, Tenet, that kind of stuff. He even composed some stuff for that movie Slice. It's like a Chance the Rapper and Zazie Beetz
So,
movie.
are you not going to mention that he just won an Oscar for Oppenheimer?
Oh yeah, for
There's one, yeah.
Oppenheimer too. Yeah.
Yeah, literally, dude, just won an
Forget
Oscar.
about that.
That's a
So
nice coincidence.
so he's one of the biggest like composers on the rise. Right.
Well,
now.
he's a Hans Zimmer protege, so he's on his way up. With Zimmer kind of pushing him along. Yeah, because they're like how Michael Giacchino is like John Williams' boy, kind of like the sort of his like protege. Yeah, Ludwig is Hans Zimmer's boy, so he's coming up in the world.
Yeah, I know his stuff is really, really great. My favorite track from many of the Creed movies, though, is from Creed 2. It's the montage running.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
I love how he mixes hip hop and the classical Rocky style.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's really good stuff. Yeah, and I also heard that Hans Zimmer, he's going on a North American tour, so like I would love to like see him in concert, because I heard that like basically it's like a rock concert.
If you go look up, there's one you can find on YouTube. It's like Hans Zimmer live in Prague. It's an amazing 2-hour thing. I mean, just like put it on the big screen, crank up the sound. He does like all the big hits, and it is totally a rock show essentially. It's awesome.
Nice.
It's great, and then he does all of his big like music hits and everything. It's great. He does Man of Steel and Wonder Woman and Pirates and Killer and Lion King. He does all that stuff. So
was it him that did Pearl Harbor? Because I like that score.
Maybe. I can't remember, but
right.
he does everything. But go watch that Prague concert. It's on YouTube and like HD. It's really good. Yeah, go check that
I'll
out.
have to put that on maybe later tonight or something. Yeah,
Mhm.
but yeah, and the box office killed. It made $173.6 million on a $35 million budget. So I mean, for today's standards, it's kind of on the lower end. I mean, 35 sounds like a lot, but I mean,
35 is like a mid-budget movie. That's nothing. That's
right.
relatively small in the age where most of the movies right now are costing 150, 200 something
I
million
know,
dollars.
right?
They actually, this is a pretty fairly low budget movie. So
Cost more.
So it like quadrupled its budget or something like that. Yeah, so that's pretty good. And then I'm sure you guys may have probably looked at it, but I always like to, for anyone who hasn't yet, Austin, you look at.
I looked at it, yeah, because I had to look up stuff too, so I already seen it.
Every time I watch the movie, I usually end up on IMDb.
Yeah, but I'll just like say that the critic score was very, very high, 95% still to this day. So so really, really high, and the audience scored 89%. So I mean, they're
very well received for
really,
sure.
really, yeah. And of course the cast, I mean, besides Stallone and Michael B. Jordan, you of course have Tessa Thompson in there, which they have a great chemistry, I think, for like the relationship stuff there. Felicia Rashad, which in a lot of ways, she reminds me of my own grandma. I mean, minus being black, but my grandma even has like a similar hairstyle and like haircut and stuff, and like a same like demeanor about her too, and then like Wood Harris, like they bring him in to be like the little Duke in there, and then some of the guys that are fighters, I believe they're pretty well unknowns as far as I know. So
Tony Bello, who plays Pretty Ricky Conlon, the guy he fights, is was, I should say, I think he's retired now, but he was a real boxer, real British boxer. Nice. He was 30-3 in his career, so really good record. 20 knockouts. He was like a cruiserweight champion, I think a light heavyweight champion, mostly over in England. But yeah, they got, and as with Rocky Balboa, the guy who played Mason Dixon.
He was also
so sometimes they get these real boxers because they know how to fight. Really, it's more about teaching them how to not hit as hard.
Right.
Stallone had always wanted a real boxer for
right.
So that
Oh
goes
yeah.
goes back to that. But yeah, what about the guy who plays Wheeler, the other guy, the one that took the car?
Oh, that
Oh
was Andre Ward, I believe, right?
yeah.
Sorry, I don't
Like,
follow real boxing.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
I think
It's
it's Andre
Ward.
Ward. Yeah, Andre Ward. He's also a real boxer. So yeah, they got real boxers in here. Yeah, playing fictional boxers. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And then I was just gonna just read just to kind of for fun. I like to just kind of read like what the synopsis is, like basically, so you get people a feel for what they're going for. But it just says this is when you just straight up Google it. But Adonis Johnson, played by Michael B. Jordan, never knew his famous father, boxing champion Apollo Creed, who died before Adonis was born. However, boxing is in his blood, so he seeks out Rocky Balboa and asks the retired champ to be his trainer. Rocky sees much of Apollo in Adonis and agrees to mentor him, even as he battles an opponent deadlier than any in the ring. With Rocky's help, Adonis soon gets a title shot, but whether he has the true heart of a fighter remains to be seen. So it's just pretty much like just saying like he's gonna fight and he's gonna go for the a championship. Is he gonna win it? Tune in to find out. You know, kind of like with the help of Rocky Balboa. So
Basically, it's broad strokes, a combination of movies.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I do like though that like with each Creed movie, you get a little bit more of his backstory. You get to see more of like when he was a kid. You get to see him like I don't know if he's in like some kind of juvenile like detention place
That
like
was
in the beginning or
that
something.
would have been juvie.
Yeah, he's in
Yeah.
juvie for fighting, getting kicked out of schools, things like that. Yeah, kind of just in perpetual trouble.
Yeah, so he just was like born with this kind of urge to just fight, like the like desires in him, and like I think probably a lot of it's genetics. I mean, obviously from his dad, and then his mom, played by Felicia Rashad, comes and picks him up, and then he slowly finds out who his dad is, and like you get to kind of see like the heart of stone kind of turn with the character, and where he's like, oh yeah, my father, I don't know him, he ain't got nothing to do with me, you know, something like that, and then he like finally learns to embrace it. He's the one that has to convince Rocky in this one instead of like the other way around. And yeah, like it's just an interesting story. And there's things that I love. Like I have probably like 95% positive. My only negatives I would say are just things that they just kind of put in there, but they don't really like explain much. Like Paulie's death, they just say Paulie died, and then he's at the cemetery, and it's like, well, like it would have been kind of nice to maybe see what actually happened to him, or actually no, they don't even tell him how he dies. That they just kind of
but he was
like
also
he died.
he was an out of shape drunk and he was old. I mean, he was gonna
Yeah.
die of liver failure or alcoholism at some point.
Yeah.
He was constantly drinking, constantly in bad shape. He was gonna die.
It would have been kind of
of
interesting to see, but I mean, I guess like it's not a huge.
You get the remnants of Paulie with the room.
Yeah.
I don't think you really miss Paulie in this movie because we got kind of old cranky Paulie and Rocky Balboa. I think you got enough of that. Like again, I don't mind not having them because it adds to the story of Rocky being completely alone in this movie and him being literally the last one standing because Apollo's gone, Adrian's gone, Paulie's gone, Mickey's gone, Duke is gone, everybody's gone. Like literally everybody is
another country.
Yeah, his kid has moved to another country. He's by himself. He's all alone, and he feels like he's just spinning his wheels, waiting for death, essentially. You know, at this point, and just living. So I think that actually that was the final piece to just add. I think it actually. I don't mind it because it adds to Rocky's story of being isolated, essentially, and not having any family, and so I don't mind.
Yeah. That. And they kind of do the same thing in Rocky Balboa with Adrian too. They don't really like tell you or show you. It's
right.
Just like, she's dead now. All right, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, but that one they told you was woman cancer.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, the thing is, you don't really need those characters at this point. You really don't.
Yeah.
No, it would have been nice to see them, but
yeah.
To me, even in Rocky Balboa, if you had Adrian in there, What are we get? What's the plot of that movie? He's got one last fight in him that he's going to get. Are we going to get the 18th discussion between them of why you don't need to fight this fight and why you shouldn't do it for your own health? We've had that scene a bunch of times in the first 5 movies. I wouldn't have needed another one. And instead, it's a little refreshing when little Marie is just like, no, fighters fight. If you got this one, you got to get it out. And she's actually like, no, if you got to fight, get it, just make sure you get it out in this one fight and get it done, just make sure it's gone. And it was kind of refreshing to have that. Again, nothing against Talia Shire. I mean, it's a beloved character and all that, and I'm fine, but to me, I think it's a gradual progression where we have to get to this point here in this movie where Rocky is by himself. And again, just living his life and he's alone. That's what we need in this movie for then Adonis to come in and start a new family around him. That's what
it could have been kind of interesting. Like my only other thing that I'll say on it is that just see him at his side, kind of like wanting his friend to make it through. Like that kind of could have been interesting, but I guess we don't really need it. So yeah,
no.
but yeah. So essentially, they kind of just jump right to it because you see Creed working at like a corporate job, or I don't know if it's like a law firm or like whatever it is, some business job.
First they show him fighting in Mexico.
Oh yeah. They show him that. Yeah, he's got a fight there, so you kind of know like the drive to fights in him, and so he just quits that job right away, and he wants to do fighting full time, and then he lets his mom know, who of course isn't on board right away, but and then boom, he's in Philly, and it's a new place, and which kind of works that he has some kind of people to lean on to. Rocky, he has Tessa Thompson's character in there, Bianca or whatever, and yeah, I kind of dig that they give him a cool love story, and it's almost kind of like a, I don't know, like a younger, kind of hipper kind of version of it. You got rap music in there, you got with the way that he vibes with Bianca, that kind of stuff. So I think all of that kind of works and probably draws in new fans, So I
my one hot take on Creed.
Uh-huh.
I don't love the Creed Bianca relationship in this movie.
Oh really?
Uh-huh. No, I don't. I don't. It's not. I just don't get a lot of spark out of it. To me, those are the dullest scenes in the movie for me. Are just the scenes where they're talking with each other in the Philly cheesesteak restaurant, and they're just talking about music. I'm kind of I kind of just want to get back to Adonis and Rocky, doing their thing. I feel like it kind of, just for me personally, if you disagree, that's fine. Just my take. It kind of slows the movie down grinds the movie to a halt every time it hits it. And every time it starts to get some momentum, then we got to have another scene with him and Bianca. And I'm like, oh God, can we just get back to this stuff with him being a fighter? I don't know. I think it's a little bit better in Creed 2 when she's actually losing her hearing and they have the baby. And I think it's a little more interesting, their dynamic. I don't love all the meet cute stuff here. I think it's a little awkward and weird. She comes off as kind of a bitch in this movie. Hot take. I don't know. I kind of don't love her in this movie.
She does.
I think that might be what helps with that, because you're right. She is.
It's you're playing your music too goddamn loud in the building. Yeah. Turn your fucking music down, and don't be an asshole about it. And then she slams the door. It's I don't know. And then they somehow still have they go out later. I don't know why. Why would she say yes? And then I don't know. I don't totally buy into it. I think it's a little clumsily written just in this movie
on his time.
Yeah, it's just my opinion. If you disagree, that's fine. I didn't love it the first time I saw it. I still don't like it now. Maybe that's why I prefer Creed 2. Another reason why I do. I think it's a more complete package.
I agree. It is the weaker stuff I do agree with you. It is definitely the weaker stuff for sure. But you're right. She is a bitch in this movie compared.
Yeah, she's always confronting him with weird questions and always wanting to know, accused them of lying about the Creed names. No, I didn't lie to you. That's what I told. I told Rocky the same shit, that I wanted to be my own guy. It's not.
You got something to tell me? It's
it's just what? The way she goes about it is weird and confrontational instead of just having a conversation. To me, just personally,
she overreacted on that one.
A little bit, yeah. It kind of bugs me.
Like, did he really need to say anything to her at that point? I mean, he didn't have to.
Because
I mean,
technically
he
his
lied.
name is Johnson. He's not lying.
Mhm.
He's not. He didn't lie to you. His name is Johnson. He's not a Creed, like
Yeah.
by legally or whatever. Like he's Johnson. So he takes on the Creed name later, and he doesn't even want to. Like basically he has to get the title fight. Like essentially,
Yeah.
And his dad the fighter, he just didn't say who.
Yeah, he didn't lie.
Yeah, right.
That
Yeah,
was a
he
famous
didn't lie.
boxer. Yeah, he said
Yeah.
that.
We do kind of like he just kind of shows up at like Rocky's restaurant. He's like, "Hey, like you're gonna train me," and he's like, "No, I'm not." He's like, "Yes, you are. You're gonna train me."
So here's my connection. Here's my connection to Rocky V. Why I think in retrospect, this movie makes Rocky V better. Because what's the main crux of Rocky V? There's this young up and guy who's kind of got a unknown sort of past. He's got some demons in his closet, and he wants Rocky to train him. And so when Rocky actually takes him in and trains him and treats him like a son, what happens eventually? Tommy Gunn gets success, and he sells out, and he turns on Rocky, and he turns on that father-son relationship. So why would he be hesitant about taking on another person to train?
Yeah.
Rocky V. It makes it better, because he had a horrible experience the last time he trained somebody and took somebody under his wing. You saw how that whole thing fell apart. So I completely understand why in Creed, when some kid comes up to you and says, hey, I want you to train me. How many people have probably come up to Rocky over the years and said, I want you to train me, Rocky. Right. I'm hungry and I'm a new person. I want you to train. You know how many times probably besides Creed he's had people come up to him because he's still famous in Philly. We see that all over the place everywhere he goes. Hey, yo, Rock, yo, champ, whatever. How many people have come up to him and said, I'm a young boxer. Can you take me under my wing and train me? Whatever. Why would he after what happened with Tommy Gunn? Why would he? The one time he ever did it, it backfired on him. So I completely understand. I think it enhances Rocky V.
And with what happened to his own, to Creed's dad, I mean, that's another thing too. He's probably worried about that too.
Well, yeah, no, he's had Rocky 4 and 5 are pretty traumatic experiences for Rocky, both as a trainer and his last fight as an official boxer. Yeah, of course. So why, really, why would he? He's had some rough late experiences with boxing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you can tell like how famous Rocky is, even with the Bianca stuff. When he's like, hey, like this is my uncle here. He's like, why don't you tell me that your uncle is Rocky Balboa? Like he's like well known,
No, he's well known. He's a Philly guy, of course. I mean, still the statue, and the real statue they still show, as kind of a character even in the movie. Everybody knows him. He goes to the Dodgers, like, hey champ, hey whatever, everybody knows him. Of course, he's Philadelphia's son. Real quick, other side thing, or a couple of the other trivia notes I had real quick that relate to what we're talking about. So Felicia Rashad, the reason she's cast in this movie is they actually probably would have used the original actress who played Apollo's wife, Sylvia Meals, who's in, Rocky 1 and 2, and she shows up in 4. She's the one kind of screaming when Apollo dies and whatnot. She passed away in 2011. So they could not physically use her, so they had to recast the role. Now, granted, like Felicia Rashad is a great actress, so it makes sense. But I'd always wondered that even when the original movie came out, and then I didn't realize that the original actress had actually passed, so they didn't have a chance to do that. So that's why they use her. And real quick about Stallone, we touched about how the writing of the movie. So how Stallone, when he got the script and he was convinced to do it, he said, okay, he didn't change any of the plot elements or the story elements, but he rewrote all of Rocky's dialogue. Not so much to change any, not to change any context again of the story or change the plot or anything. It was just like, I know this character. I know how he needs to say certain lines. Yeah. So different inflections of the lines, different words that Rocky would or would not use. He went through every line of dialogue that Rocky had and changed it to rockify it. To use a better word. To change because he knows it better than any character. He said, I have to make this Rocky's dialogue, what would he say in the situation?
I did read that one, and it just makes sense because there's only one man who can write for Rocky Balboa.
The guy who originally wrote Rocky, who invented the character, with his own script. So yes.
But to go along with the like how he just kind of how Creed just kind of puts himself into Rocky's life. I like when he's like I'll grab my stuff, I'll just move into your place and move into his house, and then he's like, okay. he's like, well, what's the problem? You like walk around naked or something in there, or what? And then
You
he asks him,
don't walk around naked. Don't
Yeah.
think
You.
yeah, you do, yeah, all right, but yeah, you get to the training, and they have the shout out to like Mickey's gym, but then they don't train there because that's where the opponent's training, so they gotta go to the other gym, and then like my favorite thing of like any Rocky Creed movie is just the training montage. I think they're so awesome. They're so much fun, and this one's great. Like he has them chasing after the chicken. He has them doing speed like jump roping. He has them like even
lower.
yeah, and then even like the running down the street. I mean, like I didn't like it maybe like when I first saw it, but it grew on me. The scene with all the ATVs and the motorcycles. I'm like that's a little weird, but and I was like no, it's cool. I'm like I think it's fun, you know. So
yeah, they're just putting they're putting their own little street spin, you know, on it essentially, you know. Yeah, him like running down the street. I mean, it's a similar scene to him in Rocky 2 running, and then the whole crowd is eventually, you know, following him up the stairs and all that. Instead of these, you know, these guys who ride the dirt bikes.
And there's a little bit of foreshadowing of it earlier in the movie.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Hey, you're great. Yeah.
Cool, you know. Yeah, and then while he's training, I can't remember if it's before the first fight or after, when we find out Rocky gets sick and he stumbles and then he goes to the hospital.
That's after the incredible one take fight he has against Leo.
Oh yeah!
Oh my god! And
That's
legitimately, that was they. I think they. Yeah, I didn't find how many times they shot it. But yeah, that is a legitimate 2-round. One take fight, one continuous shot with no bullshit, no like edits or anything. They legitimately did it a couple of times. First couple of times they had a few stumbles here and there, as you would, of course, no matter how many times you rehearse it. But yeah, they eventually got it, and that is no BS. I read that all in the trivia that they eventually just rehearsed it, had all the camera movements down, all the choreography, and yeah, it's incredible. I remember seeing that the first time I saw it in the theater and going, holy, was that all one shot? I don't remember seeing any edits of that. It's amazing. It's amazing shot. Yeah, because we'd never seen anything in the Rocky series shot like that. Just that one straight through. And again, that's something I think that a new director like Coogler can bring that, you know, no disrespect to Stallone. He's a good director on his own as well. But, you know, he would film more traditional, you know, sort of fights and edits and choreography and whatnot. And yeah, what he brings with that editing and with that cinematography, I think is pretty spectacular in that fight.
Oh yeah, and I appreciate even how they shot some of the fights in the original movies, but it just like brought it up a whole nother level though.
Well, the story with that, they actually had a well-known fight choreographer, then he quit because Stallone didn't want to do it his way, and that's how Stallone ended up just writing out the whole fucking fight, like beat by beat.
Yeah, the original fights, he writes out literally every punch. Like Apollo throws a jab, Apollo throws another jab, Rocky slips this one, like he literally wrote that out in the script, like how he wanted the fights in the original ones. It's pretty spectacular.
But yeah, they do a good job of just bringing in the modern stuff. He's watching HBO, like to like prep for the fights, and they're really well done. The segments on
those
the fighters,
like behind the fight things that they do on HBO or whatever they're called, like the little profile. They actually use the real pardon the interruption guys, Tony Kornheiser and those guys, like in some of those when they're talking about the Pretty Ricky and all that. I like when they do that. They did that in Rocky Balboa when they had like Max Kellerman, a lot of those, and they they had the little segment with Burt Sugar, on Sports Center, and they were talking I don't mind them bringing in like the real world people and talking about Rocky and Apollo and these guys as if they were real fighters. Like I like that, it's like
a real life boxing Hall of Fame. Like why the hell not?
Exactly. Yeah, why not?
Right. But yeah, just kind of training up for the fight, and then like the whole like Rocky in the hospital, that kind of stuff, and like he almost gives up on him for a little bit because he just like I'm done. He's just dejected. He's just upset.
Great.
The whole speech in the locker room, like that.
Me. It's back there on the wall.
Can I say that scene hit me more this rewatch, mainly for one reason? is that my grandfather, who passed away last year, and he's the last of the grandparents that passed away. He got, unfortunately, dementia and Alzheimer's, much like my last grandmother who passed away before he did. But a few years back, when his wife passed away, my grandmother, she died in the middle of the night in the house. She fell down, like basically her heart stopped and all that kind of stuff. He had that same kind of thing where he was like, he was basically, they have been married for 65 years. That's insane. I mean, can you imagine being together for somebody for basically all of your life, essentially? And then
my grandparents,
now they're not together anymore. And he had this thing, and this is before he got the dementia stuff, where he said, not that he wanted to kill himself or anything like that, nothing that dark, but he said, look, I've done everything I've wanted to do in life. I've seen, grandkids born, I've lived everything I wanted to do. He said, if I get a cancer or something, some kind of diagnosis, I'm just not going to fight it. I'm just going to let it run its course and just
chemo.
I'm not going to do chemo. I'm not going to break myself down. Like, I'm just going to roll with it, and just go to be with my wife. You know what I mean? Like that sort of thing. So I get it. What Rocky's saying here is, look, I don't have Paulie, I don't have Mickey, I don't have Apollo, I don't have Adrian. He's like, look, it's like if I pass away of cancer, so be it. I want to, he's like, if I could give all this up to be with Adrian one more day, I'd do it in a second. That's what he says there, And so, like, in one manner, I get it. I get what he's saying. It's one of the things in life you got to face sometimes, if you're all alone.
Yeah, no, I got it right off the bat when I saw it in theaters. Like, it's a real thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and what we find out in Creed 2, though, he does have one last thing to fight for. He does have a son, so
and a grandson.
Yeah, and a grandson to kind of like fix the relationship with all of that. So yeah, but I mean, yeah, but I totally get that, but then. Well, it's nice to just have a Creed movie where Rocky's just in his corner, though. He's in his corner for the whole fight, helping him through. And spoilers, I mean, but we already mentioned there's gonna be spoilers. He doesn't win, but it's like he wins in like a sense where they say like he has a great fight, but he didn't win it, but he still won it in our hearts or whatever.
It's Rocky 1. It's the first Rocky.
Basically,
and it's the correct decision because Pretty Ricky Conlon is a better fighter. He is. There is no doubt. He is the more experienced fighter. He's the number one pound for pound fighter in the world. Adonis basically kind of gets the fight on a fluke and on his own
victory.
Yeah,
but he earns the respect is what he was trying to get. He earns the respect of being a legitimate fighter by going toe to toe with the champion, much like in the original movie, right? Of knowing in your heart that you have the heart and then the will and the courage to do that, which is what all the first Rocky is about. Rocky doesn't care about winning the title; he wants to go the distance. That's literally the theme of that movie. He doesn't care about winning the title. And then what happens here? He goes toe to toe with him. He loses in a split decision, rightfully so, because Pretty Ricky did beat his ass for most of that fight. That is true. He gets more knockdowns. He does more damage. It is absolutely legit. He wins over the crowd. He wins over the critics. He earns it, and he earns his name, and he lives up to the Creed name. That's what the theme of the movie is. And so I remember seeing that in the theater. I said, yeah, that's the right call.
Yeah, right.
And when does he win the title? In the second one, when he should.
Yeah, right.
just like in Rocky 2, in the second one.
Yeah, but I like that they did it at the beginning.
Yes, at the beginning. No, and he's still got another fight later. Yeah, no.
And also I like some of the lines when he's in the corner with him when he's like bring back everything that's ever hurt you, like all the pain and stuff, and he uses that as like a thing. I mean, like it's Rocky bringing his like the inspiration the only way that only Rocky can do, and I think that it works, and I think Rocky gets it too because it's exactly what happened to him. He didn't win his first fight, and that's fine, So but overall though, I think that it's really, really phenomenal, really, really well done. Like I totally get the 95% that it holds up because like in my mind, I mean, like this might be like maybe the greatest franchise of all time. Like maybe like it's up there for me. I mean, it's
there's
close.
not that many lows with this franchise. Like people give 5 shit, but whatever. I mean, like,
Yeah.
But again,
it's
I've got a
just-
way to justify 5 in context of
Right.
Creed. You
But
know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it makes it better.
they're, like, really, really, really.
I like 5.
Yeah.
Like the best training music video, and I appreciate it for that.
Hey,
You know?
it's got the damn street fight. My ring's outside. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome.
It's an underrated fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he single-handedly stopped the Cold War. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you can freaking accept that, you can accept the fucking street fight.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't love the street fight, but I mean, it's fine. I think it's still kind of cool. You know,
It works for me. I think it's something different and it's fun, and that's how Tommy gets his ass whooped. Is
Yeah.
Rocky grew up fighting in the streets, and that's what he does. And it's great. But anyways, we've talked enough about Rocky 5 in this,
Right.
video. No, I mean, just one other quick note. The one big knockdown that Adonis takes in the Conlon fight, like the big one where he gets walloped, and that was the real knockout of Michael B. Jordan, the one where he really got knocked out in the ring.
Oh, it was okay.
Yes, because there's always one, because even Stallone has said every Rocky movie he's done, he gets knocked out at least once.
Yeah.
Accidentally, there's always some kind of injury in the ring, and it's more like a rite of passage, like you have to get knocked out, doing the main fight. And that one,
I kind of like that low key. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal. Obviously, you don't want your main star to, suffer some serious injury, but he gets knocked. He got knocked out and he was fine. But that's the one they left in the movie where he's like, he just goes, left to right, just boom, and takes the drop. It's good stuff. I like how they mix in the original Bill Conti music, in that final round. It's kind of like the remix version of them. They start hitting the Gonna Fly Now stuff.
It's
nice.
Yeah. They waited for that moment because it wouldn't have really.
Right. Yeah, no, it's good stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, but I'm with you. Like, probably Creed 2 just hits a little more for me. Like, that's probably my favorite. But I get pumped up every time that I watch almost any of these movies. Like, when I started doing my rewatch, I was like, maybe the first Creed is my favorite. But then I'm like, I don't know. But I love Creed 2 so much. But then I remember my thoughts when I saw Creed 3 in the theater, and like I was really high. Like when that training montage starts up, I'm just like was just dancing in my seat. I'm like, this is freaking great. And then I put on social media, like, this movie's better than any movie that came out the year before, all that stuff. I was just like really, really high on it. So they really get you pumped up. Like, they get you inspired, like all that stuff. So like, I really do appreciate that. But yeah, it's hard to say like what my favorite franchise of all time is, but this is like up there. Like, it's really high up there. It's up there.
I'd have to like sit down and map it out, but it's definitely like in the quick conversation. Like, it's one of the quick ones that comes to mind. You know what I mean? Like, that I know, offhand would be like a top 5er for sure. Like, it's in there.
Yeah, it's up there with like Lord of the Rings for me. I think that's like a perfect franchise. So yeah,
it's like because of my emotional resonance with it. That's why it's my favorite. Like, I love the MCU. I love The Godfather.
Oh yeah,
that stuff. But it's because there's an emotional connection there for me.
But just a little fun fact: Rocky's son, he moved over to your neck of the woods, so he moved to a little place called Vancouver. So yeah, so I guess he's over there. So.
And I like for when they finally show him in Creed 2, it's Milo Ventimiglia from Balboa.
Good actor. Yeah,
it makes the most sense.
He's awesome. I saw Milo Ventimiglia at a convention, but I didn't get to meet him because I was like so busy meeting other people. That's like you only have so much time. But I would.
I'm trying to eventually get to one of the conventions, and maybe it'll be the Knoxville one where I finally get to meet Dolph Lundgren and get a Drago, something signed, because I just love Rocky IV so much, and I've talked so much about how the director's cut of Rocky IV that Stallone put together, that Rocky versus Drago cut. I just think it fleshes out the Apollo storyline so much better, and finishes out kind of his arc, because they even talk about that in this movie. In Creed, they talk about maybe he wanted to die in the ring, maybe that's what his legacy wanted to be left in the ring, when they're talking about, hey, he died in the ring,
and then of course where Rocky's at too, with like, you haven't talked to Marianne since the funeral.
Right, exactly. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's and yeah, how they because that's what happened after that movie. But yeah, just how that Rocky Four director's cut, man. If you watch that, then turn on Creed 2 right afterwards, it's a phenomenal double feature. It's really good when they
is.
just pick up with the Drago stuff like right at the beginning of that movie. It's great. It's so good. It just flows so well. And there's even some deleted stuff. I know we're not talking about Creed 2's on the subject. I'm just kind of touching on it. But
Yeah.
there's even some deleted stuff you can look up on the Blu-ray and whatnot after the fight that they deleted from the movie, where Rocky and Drago have another sit down in the locker room. It's really good, and
Oh,
just
really?
kind of settle the peace basically between them, and sort of like shake hands and stuff like that. It's really good. There's a deleted sequence. I forget if it's a deleted thing from Creed or Creed 2, where Rocky goes to Spider Rico's funeral.
Oh,
That they deleted?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think it's this one.
I think yeah. So there's a deleted scene. You can look it up on YouTube where Rocky goes to the funeral of Spider Rico. Remember the guy who fought in the first fight of the original Rocky, and the guy who was working in his restaurant and Rocky Balboa and all that. Yeah, he passes away, and he goes to his wake, and it's one of those things where basically the only people at his funeral are him and like the people from the restaurant, essentially. And it's one of those things where he does a speech where he's just like, I guess some of us just get like lost to history, you know what I mean? And we just end up kind of, broken alone. And it kind of goes to the themes of this movie of just like, we just end up by ourselves. Eventually time gets us all. And that's the theme of it, of like, he even says in the movie, time is undefeated, it gets us all eventually. And yeah, I mean, there's some really good kind of deep philosophical stuff that I think we forget about in these Rocky movies that really works when they hit it hard. And yeah, Stallone's performance is, I don't know, like it's right up there with his performance in the original movie. It's very close. You know what I mean? Like what's his best performances as Rocky? I don't know if I could say. I don't know, because he's so good in different points of the franchise that I don't know if I can sit down and say which one is. No. But I mean, this one's up there. I mean,
yeah,
it is really hard.
Yeah. Well, probably my favorite Stallone performance either has to be Creed or the first Rocky, like you say. But my favorite Rocky movie overall is Rocky 2. I just love Rocky 2.
Oh, Rocky 2 is great.
So yeah, but like speaking of that, I can't remember if it's Rocky 2 or when they talk about like the third secret fight. Is that when they're just like just messing around?
So that's at the end of Rocky 3. That's at the end of Rocky 3. That's the painting, that's on the wall. And then it's the one where Apollo throughout Rocky 3 says, after this, you're gonna owe me a favor. And he goes, what favor? What favor? And the favor is that they close the doors. It's just them two with no cameras, no journalists, no commentaries, no nothing. And they get in that ring in the gym and they just have one last fight. And we never found out who wins that. And it's a nice little, just sort of Easter egg if you're a big thing of the franchise. And that's how, Adonis proves that he's, he has the inside information, you know what I mean? Of who won the fight. And I think it's a nice touch. And he says, no, he won. He won. Yeah. And he says, he's the greatest of all time. He's the better fighter. He beat me. Like he's
I
good.
was thinking about that last night. Like it makes sense that Rocky won the one time he needed to.
Right.
Yeah, right.
It's like the odds thing. 9 times out of 10, Apollo Creed would have beaten him.
Apollo would have kicked his ass. Yeah. No, because he was the better fighter. He really was. He was the more well-rounded fighter. He won the one time, and when it really, and he even Apollo brings it. You beat me by 1 second, Ron. You beat me by 1 second. That's very hard for a man for me to live with, and it's true, because even in that Rocky 2 fight, Apollo was up on points. He would have won that fight if it went to the judges. He wins. Unanimous decision. Yeah, he would have won because he kicks his ass in that fight, like for most of the thing. And that's it's a nice button. So he won. He beat me. Yeah, he's the better fighter. He's the greatest. So I mean, it's a nice little button. And apparently, Carl Weathers did say he appreciated this movie. He appreciated the performances. Yeah, they respect the name. Yeah. Once again, I mean, we said it before, but rest in peace, Carl Weathers, the man, the legend, Apollo Creed. Yeah, I mean, but he left us a hell of a legacy with a great character, and a great follow-up character with Adonis. So yeah,
and I do think that Sylvester Stallone should have won the Oscar. He won a Golden Globe, but he didn't win the Oscar. So and then he won something. I don't even know what this even means, but the Razzie Redeemer Award. I don't even know what that means.
So what that is the Razzies. since the 80s have bagged on Sylvester Stallone for like no reason all the damn time. They
Yeah.
damn near nominate every movie he did in the 80s and the 90s. Like they would nominate every one of his movies, every one of his performances for like worst actor, worst movie, worst whatever, worst this. They're still doing it with Expendables 4. Still ragging on Stallone. He barely was even in that movie. They're still doing it. But they gave him a Razzie Redeemer Award for, you know, his performance in Creed. But even then, to me, the Razzies have had this weird fetish for bagging on Sylvester Stallone. I don't know what it is, because I think out of between him and, you know, Arnold and Van Damme, he's easily the best actor out of all those guys. He's got the most range. He's given the best performances in other movies.
I'm a stopper. My mom will shoot apologist.
Well, I'm not an apologist for everything he does, but again, like you guys said, with good direction, with a good script, he's a good actor. Like he can give the right performance. Like,
and even without it being Rocky, like look at Copland.
Copland's amazing. It's a great movie. Yeah, it's you know, he's given plenty of good performances. So yeah, it's a weird thing.
Daylight. I mean, there's a bunch of
Rambo, First Blood.
Rambo's Rambo's
Rambo,
a great
come
character.
on.
He's in a Rambo 2008. It's a great movie, and he gives a really good performance in that movie. No, he gives. There's a guy from Rambo 2008 in this movie, by the way, Graham McTavish, who plays Ricky Conlon's coach, you know, manager guy. He's like the head mercenary in Rambo 2008. He's the guy who gets in the staring. He's the guy who gets in the staring contest with there. He's in that movie too. A little connection there to Rambo 08. Yeah.
Nice. Well, yeah. Well, cool, guys. Yeah, I think that we'll probably about do it. I mean, we'll just go around, and if you have any last-minute thoughts, and then I always like to give it a score. So I would give my score out of 10, and it's really tough. I'm close to saying it's a near perfect movie. Like I almost want to say it. You know what? I'll say a 10 out of 10. Like I think this movie is ruled. I think it's great. I won't give every movie in the franchise that, but at least like the first two Creeds, like I'm not high on it. But what do you say, Austin? Any last thoughts or a score?
Again, I have my little nitpicks about the movie. The stuff with Tessa Thompson doesn't totally work for me. And this one, you know, a couple of clunky things. I think it's about 10 or 15 minutes too long. I think it drags just a tad. I think it's one of the longer Rocky movies in the franchise, if you look, you know, at 2 hours and 12 minutes. So I think it pushes it a little bit. It's like an 8 out of 10 for me, because Creed 2 for me is like a 9 out of 10. Like Creed 2 is a step up for me personally. Creed 3 was like a 6.5 out of 10. I had my problems with that story and whatnot, but you know, maybe it'll grow on me. So it's like an 8 out of 10. It's a really good movie. Really good.
Because I think that Creed 1 and 2 are in my top 128 of all time, but Creed 3, like if I were to do an after the 128, maybe it would fall about there, but that's kind of that territory. But what do you say, Soda? Any last minute thoughts or a score?
9.5 out of 10. The only reason I'm not getting a 10 out of 10 is because Rocky's a 10 out of 10. But yeah, no, this is a great movie, and rewatching it last night reminded me of how great of a movie it is. And when I get a chance, I will watch the other two again, because I feel like I should finish the trilogy.
Yeah, now I really want to watch Creed 2 again.
I know, right?
Like now.
Well,
like this one is a great film to watch as a fan of film. Creed 2 is a great film to watch as a Rocky fan.
As a Rocky fan, you're just like, God damn, dude, how did they like? You brought back Ivan Drago and you made it even better. Like, damn, son. Like, jeez, man. Like, because when you heard about that, you're like, oh man, is this gonna be some like cheap thing? Now he's got a kid or whatever, and they fucking make it work, and it's really good.
Yeah,
the way they brought back
dude, when he sits down with Rocky in the restaurant, and he's explaining how his life changed after that, and his country abandoned him. You feel bad for him. You're like, God damn, now I feel bad for Drago, the guy who killed Apollo. Damn, this is some good shit. This is good. I'm sitting up there just going like, damn, this is good. This is really perfect.
I have a feeling so good. Movie that's gonna be that you guys are going to be talking about again. So,
well, I mean, I don't know if I think it's on somebody's list.
It's on mine.
It could come up at some point.
Rocky 1 and 2 are on mine.
It could come up at some point. Yeah, on the wheel. We'll see. Yeah.
I have Creed 1 and 2 and Rocky 2 on my list. So
there you go. I have I think Rocky 4 on mine and something like that. So we'll talk about those movies eventually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like because I'm pretty sure they're definitely going to make a Creed 4. If they do, then it might be around his deaf daughter, maybe. I don't know. That's kind of my speculation.
Oh,
Maybe
that
she
would be
becomes
kinda
a fighter of like some sort. Yeah. So just see like the women's aspect, like a female fighter getting in the ranks. You know, I think that'd be cool. So I'd be down for that. So we'll see. I mean, you never know. Anything's possible. So yeah, but I think that is pretty much gonna do it for us. So yeah, this is fun getting to deep dive on a good movie this week because we did Rise of
Hey,
Skywalker.
hey, don't get me
last
wrong.
week,
Yeah, 8 out of 10. We're still talking a
last
good
time.
movie this week, so I'm perfectly happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like
talking
Rise
about
of-
a good movie.
I'll say Rise of Skywalker wasn't as bad as I thought when I rewatched it, and we did that one, and we had Marie. Now I'm like spacing on her last name, Marie Wilson. But yeah, and she that's her favorite Star Wars movie of all time, and she's a huge Star Wars fan, so that was fun to kind of dive into that. But yeah, we'll let you know. We'll probably be back at it. I'm gonna say probably it might be more like 3 weeks before we get to another We Love Movies, because next week I want to keep it free because Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey comes out and I want to go see it. So I'm gonna keep it open for that, and we have other stuff going on.
Well, and in about 2 weeks, we probably got to finally get to that recast of Willy Wonka we've been trying to get to.
Yeah,
and then, so maybe the week of the 10th or so, we'll do another Wheel of Movies, and we'll get to another.
Yeah.
But hey, even if we only do one, even if we only do one a month and one of this, one of recast, we mix it up a little bit, and we'll get to some movies. So
yeah. So yeah, but we'll be back for sure. So yeah, let's do some quick plug. If you have anything you want to plug, tell us where we can find you. We'll go to Soda. Where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me on my personal Instagram and Twitter over at soda_the_saxman, and over on the Northern Entertainment Group, we're just me and my friend 50. We just we do a couple of shows together, and one's about Doctor Who, and the other ones we teach each other about each other's countries. And the one we're doing this week is about the Quiet Revolution of Quebec.
Oh, nice. That's cool. Sounds good. Yeah, I mean, it's always nice when you can learn a little something, So yeah, but and Austin, where can we find you?
Mostly on here, obviously. Just a few of the other things that we got Lonely Marks tomorrow night. We'll be talking, obviously, all the latest news. We're on the road to WrestleMania, so we'll be talking. We're actually we talked about WrestleMania 14 last week in a retro review. We're doing a retro review this week related to AEW Revolution of Sting's final match. We're watching and reviewing the first Clash of the Champions with Ric Flair and Sting in the 45-minute draw.
Nice.
Clash of the Champions. So that's kind of our retro review for this week. You can check that. That whole show is awesome. It's awesome.
Some good check that out. Those are two of my favorite wrestlers. As a casual fan, Ric Flair and Sting are two of my
Ric Flair and Sting go 45 minutes. Not even the match of the night.
Oh wow.
Midnight Express match is even better. It's fucking wild. But anyways, nice. So we're doing that tomorrow night. We'll talk all about it. My After the 128 is on Friday, so we'll see what pops up on there. That should be fun. And then a podcast about movies on Saturday. Myself and Jacob Barber will be back, and we'll be reviewing the 4 movies that came out of our blind ranking show. And the 4 movies we're going to be talking about are Mars Attacks, The Terminator, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Hot Fuzz. So little action pack and some action sci-fi, some action comedy, action adventure. So all kind of related to action, things like that. But you can tune in for that.
Nice. That sounds good. And yeah, I won't go too deep on what we have coming up, but I will say that if you'd like to get your movies on the wheel for Wheel of Movies, anyone who is a big movie fan and you want to showcase your top 64, we'll do a tournament for you. And then once you do that, you can have your movies on the Wheel of Movies. And even Matt, like you haven't done a 128, so we got to get that on the books at some point. You can have 64 more movies on the list.
Done. I'll have to take care of my next 25 then.
For sure.
You can put all the Rocky movies in there if you want to.
If you want to, yeah.
If you want to. Hey, if there's some of my favorites.
But and then let's see. Tomorrow night we'll be doing the next round of the Seen and Heard trivia tournament. So we'll be doing that at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So you can tune in for that. And then let's see. Friday, Austin mentioned his 128. After the 128, we'll be doing that. And then I'll just mention what we have going on for next week. We'll be doing a Jack Black versus Ben Stiller match for Versus. And then it'll be Austin's birthday coming up, so he'll have a mystery speed tournament with a bit of a twist, which we're not revealing yet. We'll reveal it on the episode, but yeah. So that's what we have coming up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, definitely do that. That really helps us out. Because if you're watching it and you're not subscribed, like, what are you doing? Just like click the subscribe button, and also if you already are subscribed, then share it out and tell people to watch. Share it on your social media. It really helps us, so we appreciate that. And yeah, I think that is going to do it for us tonight, and we'll be at it again. So if you subscribe to all the social media that's in our description below, or hit the little bell, you'll know when the next one is. We try to put these Wheel of Movies out on a Wednesday night usually, so that'll be in roughly about 3 weeks from now. So yeah,
and we've decided Matt may just be our sports movie correspondent here on Wheel of Movies.
Right.
since we did Major League and we did Creed with you, so yeah, some other sports movies pop up. Maybe other than Mighty Ducks or something, 'cause that's more of a nostalgia thing. But
well, that's another one I grew up with.
There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good
It's
stuff.
hockey. I'm Canadian. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, right. I was
Hockey,
gonna say we got to find a good hockey movie. For
Yeah,
us.
we got to find some hockey
Oh,
stuff. Yeah, no. What other hockey movies we got on that wheel? Is there a little Miracle on there? Is
Miracle's
there Mighty
great.
Ducks? Is
Miracle
there,
or like Slapshot?
one of the
something like
actors
that.
who acted
Slapshot,
from Miracle just
Slapshot,
passed
yeah.
away recently.
Oh yeah.
One of the actors from Miracle.
Oh
just
yeah.
passed away recently. The guy who played that
You're right.
cock, the guy who got cut at the last minute.
Yeah, that's right.
He
I remember
had
hearing about that.
he had ALS. I did not know that.
Oh wow, crazy! Yeah. But yeah, that'll do it. So for Matt Mageau, for Austin Pez Howell, I've been Jordan, the movie hero Anderson, and we'll see you next time.